your day.
That girl is.
Hey folks, Crazy Collaborator here again. And this time we're going to look at game number 16 in our 20 from 1990 series. This game is kind of a rip-off of Bubble Bobble, but it was super popular back in the day, and there are some kind of cool differences in this game. This is called Snow Brothers, and this was created by Toaplan, and it was in Romstar cabinets. But this is very similar to Bubble Bobble. You can play one or two players simultaneous play, but instead of bubble blowing dragons, you control snowmen, and they are named Nick and Tom. And this game is also known as Snow Brothers Nick and Tom. But what you do is you throw snow at your enemies, and you turn them into big old snowballs. And you can actually push the snowballs just by pushing against it using the joystick. And you can jump on top of the snowball, and that will allow you to get to higher platforms. And if you push against the snowball and press the attack button, then you will kick the snowball and it will take out any enemies in its wake. And that can get you some nice bonus points. And there will be boss fights like this one. There are a total of 50 levels. And when you beat the final level, your game will end. You can continue if you run out of lives, and there are only two ways to get extra lives. One is getting 100,000 points, just at 100,000 points, not every 100,000 points. And then there's a bonus that you can get that can help you towards an extra life, and we'll look at that later. And we'll go ahead and get started. Right now we have the easiest enemies to deal with in the game. Just remember, one touch of an enemy is fatal, so make sure you steer clear of them. But you want to try to take out as many enemies as possible. Now you see that pumpkin guy. He will appear if the game thinks that you took too long. And the time that it takes for that guy to appear is not very much. Certainly less time than the Skella monster or whatever he's called in Bubble Bobble. Now we have a new enemy that breathes fire. But in order to get the most points, and if you can kill all the enemies with one snowball, then you will get some very nice bonus points. There will be these little pieces of paper that will drop down, and they will be worth 10,000 points apiece. But you will get mostly food items for killing the enemies with using the snowballs, or turning them into snowballs and knocking them against walls. But there can also be some helpful power-ups in the form of potions, and the potions can speed you up, make your snow stronger, that will encase the enemies quicker in snow. You can have a long-range fire, or throwing your snow will make it long range, or you can actually turn into a giant snowman for a short time and be invincible and kill all your enemies by touching them, and we'll look at that later. That one's very rare. The potions that appear most often are the red ones, which speeds you up and makes your limbs flail about. There's a blue one that gives you the stronger shot for your snow that you throw. And then the yellow one will give you long range shot. And then the green one turns you into a giant snowman. But that one is very rare. I remember seeing this in arcades back in the day. It was very popular. And then there was I think an NES port of this. Perhaps a Genesis port, I don't remember for sure. Stop that Bandicam. Hopefully there's like an update of Bandicam that I don't have to pay for that will iron out these bugs. Most of the enemies will be able to jump up a floor at least, and others will be able to drop down floors. Know what your enemies do. It helps you avoid them when they're breathing fire or whatnot. Now, when the pumpkin guy appears, you can actually shoot him and make him reappear somewhere else. But eventually, he will fire off these demons that will follow you around, and they'll kill you when they touch you. You will lose your power-ups whenever you die, but as long as you don't die, you get to keep them. So being able to move fast and fire stronger, further shots will really help you out in this game. Yeah, don't forget that you can stand on top of those snowballs. You can jump on top of them, because sometimes it will seem that you will not be able to jump up to a certain floor, and you'll need to create a snowball out of an enemy and jump on top of them. Now note that if you leave a snowball that is half filled or not quite filled all the way, it will start thawing out, and the enemy will eventually be free. And note that if the snowball hits you, it just takes you for a ride. It won't hurt you, even when it slams into the wall. And now we have our first boss fight. And this guy's very easy. Make sure that you stay below a floor, because he'll spit out enemies and they can land right on you. Stand right basically where I'm standing, and then just fill up the enemies with snow, turn them into snowballs, and kick them back at the boss. And just keep doing it. Also note that your shots look like they're hurting the boss. You can actually go down and shoot the boss's corpse as it floats away or whatever, or just sits there, and get some more points. And now we're going to the next set of stages. Yeah, this is just like Bubble Bobble in terms of fixed screen gameplay with platforms. But certain things about using the snowballs makes this certainly interesting on its own. Note when there's a slope that running up it is slow and running down it is fast. I mean, it makes sense, but once you start getting used to it, it seems perhaps more pronounced than you might think. And the enemies will have the same same speed increase or decrease, and it might be more pronounced than you think. So if you see an enemy moving on a slope, it might be a lot faster than you think. So be ready for that. Yeah, I can't tell you the exact scoring for the food items that you'll pick up, but the more enemies you knock out with one snowball, the more higher point value they'll be. And we now have enemies that can turn into tornadoes. And in tornado form, they are invincible. They will eventually stop. And hey, I got another bunch of whatever those are, tickets or a piece of paper that are worth 10,000 apiece for taking out all the enemies at once. And there is the green potion. It's pretty rare. You can float through all the walls and kill all the enemies you come into contact with. But that is the green potion. It's very rare. But yeah, that tornado will follow you, and it is invincible to your snow. Oops. Yeah, you can just keep on covering an enemy with snow over and over and over again, and keep them from thawing out. And you can do that with multiple enemies in order to just wait until perhaps a whole bunch of enemies come nearby so that you can take them all out at once. But also remember that that stupid pumpkin guy will be coming earlier than you think. The different enemies are like, there's a goblin, and he's the easiest. There's a yellow monkey that will climb walls and drop through floors. There's a fire breather, and later on in the game, he will be able to breathe down at you. At the start, he only breathes left and right. There's also the tornado guy that spins around, and he's invincible in that form. And then there's a red monkey that throws fireballs. There's an ogre that can charge through the air at you. There is a bat that will fly diagonally. There is a sumo wrestler, and he rains fire down on you when he stomps on the floor, I believe. And he can be killed with snow for like a 10,000 point ticket or whatever that is. I think it's supposed to be like some sort of charm or something. I don't know a whole lot about Japanese mythology or whatever. Ah, crap, that was dumb. But yeah, you will reappear at the bottom if you lose a life. And again, the only ways to get extra life is at 10,000 or 100,000 points. And then there's another way that we'll look at later. And here's the second boss. I hate this boss. Yeah, it looks like you can hurt the boss with your regular snow. I don't think you really can. I mean, if you can, it takes absolutely forever. And it's so much better to hit him with snowballs. But he fires off bombs from multiple different ports on his body. And yeah, you'll get killed by an ejected bomb. And he can fire bombs that will explode. Yeah, I really, really hate this boss. But he just kind of rises up and down. And again, the exploding bombs are already explode very shortly after he fires them out of his body. Yeah, it's kind of a hard boss, or at least I have trouble with him. Yeah, I saw this at numerous arcades. It was very, very popular. I didn't like it as much as some people did. I thought it was a kind of a shoddy rip-off of Bubble Bobble at the time, but I appreciate it more the more I play it. But yeah, don't forget that you can get some more points by hitting the boss's dead body or floating away body. You get 10 points per hit, but what the hell, just keep on racking it up to get a higher score. Yeah, those stupid monsters that breathe fire, they now breathe it down at you. So there'll sometimes be the same enemies from before, but they'll have new abilities. There, I put in my initials. That is Snow Brothers, also known as Snow Brothers Nick and Tom, and you get the opportunity to continue when you run out of lives, but I didn't do that here, but we will look at least a little bit of each remaining stage. And like I said, there are 50 stages. But yeah, Toaplan created this. I put on invincibility at this point. Yeah, we will just look at snippets of each remaining stage. Toaplan created this, and it was put in Romstar cabinets. But Romstar had really nothing to do with the creation of this game, just the cabinet. Cute game, cutesy graphics, and borderline catchy music, at least. Yeah, you can kill that sumo guy. Just hit him with some snow, and you'll get the 10,000 point charm or whatever it is. I hope you're able to stay warm. It's starting to get cold, and boy, we had a lot of rain yesterday. Sometimes I'm not entirely sure what makes the snowballs go in which direction. Sometimes I think I know which direction they're going to go, and then it goes in a different direction. Kind of hard to predict sometimes. But again, if you are able to take out all the enemies with one snowball, then you will get those charms dropping down from the sky for 10,000 points apiece. And yeah, sometimes you will need to turn an enemy into a snowball, but jump on top of them to get to higher floors. Otherwise, you can't jump high enough. And you can actually bump up, I didn't show that, but you can bump up a snowball from a platform below and bump it up a floor. And here's the next boss. And this is actually a couple of birds. And they have downward flying patterns that you need to pay attention to, or you'll get nailed. And they'll fire off a few eggs that hatch immediately, and you can turn those birds into snowballs and kick them at the giant birds. If you have a snow power-up, then this fight can be pretty quick, because the boss birds aren't very strong. And again, you can shoot the defeated bosses for some extra points. It's kind of fetching. Oh, and here is the other way to get an extra life. Sometimes you will get a snowman head as a power-up, and if you collect it, then 4 enemies will appear, 4 extra enemies, and you'll want to take as many of those out, because they may give you one of the letters or more that will spell out the word snow. And when you eventually do spell out the word snow, you will get an extra life. Very, very rarely will you get that power-up, though, the snowman head. Perhaps even more rare than the green potion that lets you turn into a giant snow brother. Yeah, if you're in an enclosed space and you kick a snowball, it will just bounce left and right repeatedly. And each time that the snowball hits a wall, you will get 10 points. But again, that's just going to be for scoring purposes. There's another green potion, but I won't be able to reach it. Yeah, again, you only get an extra life scoring-wise at 100,000 points, so trying to get all the points you can is kind of pointless unless you unless you just want extra points. Note that your snow does drop down at an angle a little bit, so you might be able to hit an enemy that's on a slightly lower platform. And again, a flying snowball will take you for a ride. And you can press, I think, the jump button to be able to get out of it. Here is another boss. And note that there are two hatches that are open, and enemies will drop through them. It's not the bosses that release them. And the bosses will spit fireballs. Any enemy that spits fire can burn the snowballs that you created. See, I'm trying to make snowballs, but there's fire in the way. And you'll want to kick those snowballs, of course, at the boss, as per usual. Just gotta keep doing it until you kill these guys off. There were a couple sequels to this, but I think they were both Japan only. Snow Brothers 2, Snow Brothers 3, they had an addendum to their names, and I don't remember what it was. I think Snow Brothers 2 might have been like the New Elves or something. I think the enemies are called elves, and that's the end of that boss. And now we got more stages, and now you can fall through the bottom and reappear at the top. Yeah, collect all those potions that you can. They're not gonna stay on the screen terribly long. And now we have the bats that will fly diagonally. They will eventually stop and rest. The enemies are quicker at thawing out when you leave a snowball alone as you progress further in the game. And you don't get a ton of points for the bonus items, the food items left from killing enemies with the snowballs. Hey, I got perfect from killing all the enemies with one fireball, or a snowball. I could have played two-player simultaneous play in this game, but you'd already seen that in the demo. Didn't get it perfect there. Oh well. You get like up to I think a handful of thousands for the maximum of the bonus items. Oh, another perfect. Nice. Yeah, you don't get much time to collect those charms. So hurry up, get as many as you can for 10,000 apiece. And this is the final boss of the game. And this is 2 stone statues. This is kind of a cool boss fight. These bosses will spit out bubbles, and there will be empty bubbles that you'll get trapped in, and you'll need to, I think, hammer the fire button to escape. And if you don't, then you will get taken up to those giant teeth things up there and get stabbed, and you'll lose a life. And those 2 princesses that you need to rescue, I'm guessing they're princesses, you don't have to play 2 players simultaneous play and beat the game in order to get a good ending or anything. You can just play 1 player and you'll get the same ending. But they will also breathe, these statues will also breathe, excuse me, breathe bubbles that have enemies trapped inside them. And when the bubbles pop that have the enemies in them, the enemies will drop down and you can turn them into snowballs and kick them back at the statues. There will also be fireballs in the bubbles, and when those pop, there will be fire on the ground, and that will burn any snow that you made. If you fall off the left or right, you will die. And again, if you are in a bubble and you float up and it gets popped by those teeth things, you will lose a life. And there will be power-ups trapped in some of the bubbles. And you can jump in the bubble and collect that power-up, but you need to break out before it floats up and you get popped by those teeth. Note that the teeth are lowering, but it'll just reach a certain point where it won't go down any further. It won't like go all the way to the bottom and crush you or anything. And there's no death for the girls if you take too long. See, I destroyed one of the statues. It'll turn blue, and now I've destroyed them both. And now we get an ending. It's really a pretty lame ending. You just see the sun rise, like Japan, the rising sun, land of the rising sun. This is, of course, made in Japan. Toaplan is a Japanese company. And it just says something like congratulations, and then you put in your initials or something like that. Thank you, game end. That was Snow Brothers, also known as Snow Brothers Nick and Tom. I'll put in my initials here. But yeah, 50 levels. Just try to bury your enemies in snow. Just keep pressing the fire button until they're a snowball, and then run up to it and press the attack button, and you'll kick it and hopefully take a whole bunch of enemies in its wake. And yeah, that's me getting stabbed on the teeth. And if you die, the girls will say, "Oh my God!" And here's me beating it with 2 players simultaneous play. It's the same ending, except you both just run back and forth between the girls. Doesn't have any different ending. And in a moment we'll look at the extra life that you can get from collecting that snowman head and killing enough enemies that'll appear to spell out the word snow. And again, the only other way to get an extra life is to get 100,000 points. And not every 100,000 points, but at 100,000 points. And there, yeah, you just try to kill these enemies as quickly as you can. And there is the word spelled out, snow. But that was Snow Brothers, created by Toaplan in 1990, game number 16 in our 20 from 1990 series. Thank you for watching, and I hope you join me soon for game number 15. Bye-bye, folks.